Hello Ruben and welcome to Ruhben's Room. Yes, it's 2008. You may remember me from such shows as Ruhben's Room 2007 Christmas time, but it's Christmas time today and we are back with your favourite show in Ruhben's Room. And what on earth is that noise? It couldn't be. It isn't. Well, Ruhben, I think in fact it is. It's the one man we all hated to see last year, but he's back. Hello. How's Ruhben? I don't know, Rubes, how are you today? I think Ruhben just wants to open his Christmas presents. No one wants to hear from you. But I want to hear from him. Oh, your voice has suddenly changed. I want to do stuff. I want to play. I want to do stuff. I don't think we should let him play just yet, Ruhben. I think we're going to put him away because there is one man, less man, more bear, who we all want to hear from, who's been on more travels this year. Hello, Teddy. Teddy doesn't really speak. He's very quiet, but he's going to talk to us one day, just like a few other people we wish might speak to us at some point soon. So, what would you like to do today, Teddy? We could go here. We could maybe hop along somewhere else. No, I don't think that's a very good idea. Teddy wants to go into Dusk's room today. Instead of Ruhben's room, maybe we could go into Dusk's room. So, I'm going to click my fingers and we're going to go in there. So, 3, 2, 1... Ah! Not entirely sure we wanted to be in Dusk's room right now. It looks a little bit messy today, doesn't it, Ted? I'm not so sure about that. Maybe instead of going to Dusk's room, we can click our fingers and go to the beach. Well, this looks a whole lot better to me, but I feel I'm a little bit overdressed for the beach, Rubes, because when we're at the beach, we like to wear nice, white, bright outfits. So, I'm going to click my fingers one more time, and we're going to change our top. And here we are, back at the beach, Ruhben. Look at this, wearing a nice new top. You may notice that part of me is a little bit see-through. That's, of course, just the magic of television. We're going to call that today. Possibly a bit of a stuff up in the technical department, but we are going to continue. So, I want to know, what do you wear at the beach? What else except for white clothing? Do you maybe wear some pajamas? No, I don't think you would wear pajamas. I think that could be a bit of fun though, but I probably wouldn't wear pajamas. What about you, Ruhben? Would you wear a baseball cap? Yeah, you might wear a hat. Why would you wear a baseball cap, Ruhben? Because of the sun. It's very bright out there. Not so bright as it is here today all the time, but it is very bright in Australia's summer, so you should always wear a hat when you go to the beach. What else might you wear to the beach? Would you wear some gumboots? No, I don't think you'd wear any gumboots. Gumboots can be a little bit funny, particularly when you're wandering through the sand, and we all know how we hate to get sand in our toes. So what might we wear? Don't need that anymore. What might we wear instead of some gumboots to the beach? I think I have a bit of an idea. Instead of gumboots, we might wear some thongs. Here we are, some flip-flops, some thongs, some whatever you want to call them. These make it much easier to walk over the sand and to get to the actual water. So maybe a little bit too small for some little thongs right now, but you never know, turning 3 just in a couple of months, it might be time for some thongs. So what can you do when you're at the beach? Of course, you can go swimming. This is some freestyle swimming, or some breaststroke, some breaststroke, some breaststroke, or maybe instead of being in the water, you could build a sandcastle. Yeah, build a sandcastle right next to you. Then there's another idea I've just had. What if we had a frisbee? Everyone loves a frisbee. And you have to catch it. Frisbees can be a little bit of fun, but they can kind of be a bit annoying if they go into the water. That's why we have Sammy to eat the frisbee and to bring it back. As you can see, Sammy's already had a few little snacks on this frisbee. So for now, goodbye to the frisbee. Oops, I think I just broke something. So I think that's enough at the beach today, Ruhben. It could in fact be time for a book. And welcome back, Rubes. Of course, we're back in Ruhben's Room. This, of course, is where we like to read you a book. And today, I've spent a bit of time this whole year trying to find a nice book that you might be able to read. Something that perhaps says something about, you know, some people we might know, some brothers between our ages, maybe, not entirely sure. But I found a nice autobiography under the D section, the DR section at the library. It was titled Mr. Impossible. So today I decided we could read together Mr. Impossible. So we have our friend Ted and our crazy old man who's also sitting next to us. And let's start reading Mr. Impossible. So you've got the copy in front of you. Pick it up, put it on your lap. Let's sit down and read it together. Mr. Impossible could do the most amazing things. For instance, Mr. Impossible could jump over a house. You try. It's impossible. Probably don't try it. Probably not quite a good idea, and Mum will get very angry at me. And Mr. Impossible could make himself invisible. All he had to do was stand there and think about becoming invisible, and he became invisible. You try it. It's impossible. Mr. Impossible could fly. All he had to do was stand there and flap his arms about, and off he flew. You try it. It's impossible. Come on. No, it's not working. Just turn the page, Ahron. I think that's a good idea. And Mr. Impossible lived in an impossible-looking house. Have you ever seen a house in such an impossible place? Of course not. On a tree. You can't have a house on a tree. Unless, of course, it's a tree house, and that's pretty cool. Maybe in a few years I'll make you a tree house. One day, Mr. Impossible was out walking in the woods when he met a boy called William. William was on his way to school. "Hello," said Mr. Impossible. "Hello," replied William. "I'm William." "I'm impossible," said Mr. Impossible. "Really?" said William. "Really," smiled Mr. Impossible. What a lovely way to start a conversation. "Can you do impossible things?" asked William. "Haven't come across anything I couldn't do," replied Mr. Impossible, modestly of course. William thought. "Can you climb up that tree?" he asked, pointing to the biggest tree in the whole woods. "I can do better than that," replied Mr. Impossible. "I can walk up that tree." And he did. William thought again. "Can you stand on one hand?" he asked. "I can do better than that," said Mr. Impossible. "I can stand on no hands." And he did. "That's impossible," cried William. "True," replied Mr. Impossible. Then William remembered that he was on his way to school. "Why don't you come with me?" he asked. "But I've never been to a school before," Mr. Impossible said. "Then it's time you did," replied William. "Come on." William and Mr. Impossible sat at the back of William's classroom with all the other children. The teacher came in but didn't notice that there was something extra in his class that morning. I wonder who it could be. Could it be a little man wearing a little blue hat? I don't know. "Good morning, children," said the teacher. "I have a very difficult sum for you to do today. It will take the most of the morning to work out the answer." And he wrote the sum on the blackboard. It really was the most difficult sum William had ever seen in his whole life, full of multiplications and divisions and additions and other things that William didn't enjoy. The teacher was right. It would indeed take most of the morning to work out the answer, if not most of the afternoon as well. Mr. Impossible whispered into William's ear. That's what a whisper is. William put up his hand. "Yes, William," said the teacher. "Is there something about the sum you don't understand?" "Please, sir," said William, "is the answer 23? The teacher was very, absolutely, totally, completely amazed. "How did you work that sum out so quickly?" he gasped. "It's impossible." "Nothing is impossible," said Mr. Impossible from the back of his class and stood up. "Well, I never did," exclaimed the teacher. He's quite surprised. After that, Mr. Impossible spent all day at the school. He showed the teacher how he could read a book upside down. I don't think I can do that. "That's impossible," said the teacher. The children who were watching. "Absolutely," cried Mr. Impossible. We're nearly at the end of the story yet. I don't know. Then William asked Mr. Impossible if he'd like to play in the school football match. "Oh, yes, please," replied Mr. Impossible. "I've never played football before." And do you know what he did? He kicked the football so high into the air that when it came down, it had snow on it. That's pretty high. What an impossible thing to do. Sounds impossible to me. Then it was time to go home. Mr. Impossible said goodbye to all the people at the school and then said goodbye to William. "Goodbye, Mr. Impossible," said William. "Goodbye, William," said Mr. Impossible, and then just disappeared. William rubbed his eyes and then went home. William's mother and father were waiting for him. "Hello, William," they said. "Did you have a good day at school?" "Yes," replied William, "and I met someone who can do anything in the world." "Really, William?" They both laughed. "You're impossible." William smiled and went inside. And 100 miles away, a small figure was listening to what William's mother and father were saying, and he grinned an impossible grin, and then he went to sleep, standing on his head, and we all know that that's impossible. Okay, Ruhben, that's the end of Mr. Impossible, the storybook, and also the end of the show, Ruhben's Room, for today and for 2008. But who knows, there might be another show just around the corner, so you keep tuning in. Have a great Christmas, enjoy opening your presents. Merry Christmas from your big brother. Mwah! See ya!